I'm Mordecai Sones, and this is your daily news report from Israel News Talk Radio. Rabbi Dr. Avraham Yehoshua Heschel Twersky, age 90, has died after reportedly receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Rabbi Yitzchak Aryeh Shiner, Rosh Yeshiva of Kamenetz and Degel Torah Council of Torah Sages member, age 98, has died after receiving the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Rabbi Yaakov Yisrael Leifer, age 73, from Bnei Brak, has died after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Moshe Levi reports that his son-in-law, Itzik, age 40, has died 3 days after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine on Thursday. On Sunday, he left for work and did not return. He was found lifeless in his car at the side of the road. Levi reports his son-in-law was healthy. Rabbi Asher Solomon, age 76, from Jerusalem, fell ill and died 2 days after receiving the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. He suffered many pre-existing health conditions. Rabbi Moshe Yosef Weissman, age 81, died after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Robert Lauderdale, aged 80, from Efrat, has passed away 3 weeks after receiving the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. He suffered many pre-existing health conditions. Shadi Chatayeb reports his grandfather died after receiving the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Yuval Hagoel, age 45, from Arad, had a heart attack and died after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. He suffered from diabetes. Shabbatai Malki of Petach Tikva has died soon after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Helena Dudovsky reports that her aunt, age 69, died after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Zohar Zamir reports her aunt had a stroke and died after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. She was an active and healthy woman. Natalie Chayon reports her mother died the day after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Former soccer player Betzalel Avitan, aged 80, died the day after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. He was reportedly healthy. Nursing home resident Shmuel Weber has died after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Famous Ashkelon photographer Gregory Bar-Khan has died of a heart attack after receiving the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Eddie Avitan of Kiryat Malachi, age 67, has died 2 days after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. A 45-year-old inmate at Rimonim prison received the COVID-19 vaccine. A day later, he was found dead in his cell. Tzion Dayan from Netanya, age 51, suffered cardiac arrest and died after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. He was reportedly healthy with no background illnesses. Yigal Tiram of Givat Olga, age 68, died after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Marina Marilashvili reports her grandmother died 2 days after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Claudia Shohan reports her father, Natalio Bendelman, an 85-year-old resident of the Zimmerman nursing home in Ra'anana, began to feel ill and died 4 days after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. His daughter reports her father was healthy and lucid up until his death. Yitzchak Izo Nadler, age 64, did not wake up the day after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Ahuva Kellerman of Jerusalem, age 25, died a week after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Lior Tavari reports his grandmother died immediately after receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Udi Mado, age 49, died of a heart attack 5 days after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Menashe Cohen from Kiryat Ata, age 89, died immediately after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Meir Fish from Stei Chemed, age 55, died about a week after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. The list continues but cannot be brought here in its entirety due to time constraints. After succeeding Sunday in extending the current lockdown, this time until Friday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu repeated, "We will use the time to vaccinate another 1 million Israelis." And now a look at the weather.
The forecast is brought to you by JewishPress.com. For Jewish news you can trust.
Tuesday will be fair with an additional slight rise in temperatures. Strong easterly winds will prevail in the northern mountains with a chance of haze mainly in the north. On this week's Tamar Yonah show, Tamar elucidates the maxim, if you allow the government to break the law in an emergency, they will create emergencies to break the law, explaining how governments take control of your life. To listen to the podcast, go to our website at israelnewstalkradio.com and click on the Tamar Yonah show. You've been listening to Mordecai Sones at Israel News Talk Radio.